Hey guys, welcome back. So today, let's talk about game mode. What is the game mode? Well, if you guys look over here on the right side panel, you'll see this tab, World Settings. And if you click on that, you'll see our second option down here is game mode. And what the game mode does is it can set some default classes for us. Right now we're using the third person game mode, but if we click on this tab, you can see there are other game modes that we can choose from. So if I click none, you'll see that everything underneath defaults to empty. When we go back to our third person game mode, you see these are filled. So our default pawn class is going to be our third person character here. The HUD class is just a generic HUD. Our player controller is the default player controller, and so on for the last three of these things. And what you can do with the game mode is you can create your own custom ones that will have this stuff set up how you like. So for example, if you're playing a game like Call of Duty, and in one level you might be in a C-130 bombing targets from the air, that would probably be a different game mode than if you played the next level and you are now on a special ops mission and you were going to go infiltrate a bunker somewhere. You would have different pawn classes and different controllers for that. Obviously, flying an airplane is going to be a lot different than, walking on the ground and shooting enemies with, AK-47s versus, missiles from an airplane or something, or a drone. So, what are we going to do with this? Well, first let's start off by creating our own game mode. So we can right-click here in the content browser, and we can go to Blueprint Class, and we're just going to search, actually right here it says Game Mode Base. So we can click on that, and we will call this Tutorial Game Mode. And if we open this up, you can see right here it has this tab Classes, and this is where we can set all of our default classes that we want to use for this game mode. So we're going to need to create a player controller, a default pawn class. We will use the third person character. So you can drop this down. So we'll minimize this, and we'll right click here, and we'll go to a blueprint class, and we'll create our own player controller. We'll call this tutorial controller. And this is just so that we can have something to set here in our game mode. So we'll go back into our game mode, and now we can select our tutorial controller. The other classes are more for multiplayer. The game state and player state and spectator class, you probably won't be using them in single player or in a beginner series for that matter, so we won't discuss those. So we'll just compile and save this, and we can right click here and just save our controller. And now you'll notice if we click on our game mode, we now have this tutorial game mode, and if we click on that, you see it uses our third person character, and now it's using our tutorial controller instead of the default player controller here. So now if we hit play, you see it still spawns our third person character into the level, and everything is working as before. Now you'll notice when we go to our second level, we sort of end up in this weird limbo here. We're just kind of like a floating head with no body, and we can't move around. So let's exit out of that, and let's go into our second level here. Now if we'll click on the world settings here of our second level, you guys will notice that the game mode says none. And this is why we don't spawn any actor into the world. We don't really have control over where we're going. It's because nothing is set here in the game mode. So if we click on this drop down menu and go to our tutorial game mode, and we hit save, now if we play the game, you see we spawn in, and we have our default third person character, and our widget has come with our health and everything. Alright, so that's the basics of the game mode, guys. I hope you thought that was helpful, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more tutorials. Alright, see you guys later.